Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm a digital marketing guide from SmartThoughts, a vendor-neutral software advisement firm for associations and nonprofits. Today, we're bringing you a detailed, independent review of the Your Membership platform. Now, the goal of this explainer is to really help you, association executives, understand the true fit, the very real trade-offs, and the broader decision implications of this software. Look, we aren't here to give you a glossy vendor product pitch or just rattle off a list of features. Instead, we want to help you figure out if this platform actually aligns with your specific day-to-day operational reality.
Okay, so here's our roadmap for today. We'll be covering your membership's true market position, the actual operational gains, the trade-offs and constraints, a few executive blind spots, and finally, the key decision questions your team needs to ask.
All right, Section 1, True Market Position, where your membership actually sits. We really have to pinpoint exactly who this software is built for so you don't make the common mistake of overestimating its capabilities.
In the association software ecosystem, it helps to think of your membership a bit like an upscale casual restaurant. It's definitely not a basic do-it-yourself fast food tool, right? But it's also not a highly customized, fine dining enterprise system. It sits right there in the middle, functioning as a Tier 2 to 3 hybrid. It's uniquely targeted at mid-sized associations. We're talking 2 to 15 staff members, with operating budgets between $500,000 and $5 million. It is built specifically for teams that prioritize efficiency and convenience way over highly advanced granular customization.
Now here's an absolutely critical piece of context. Your membership refuses to publish public pricing, which, is a really common and frankly incredibly frustrating thing in this space. But based on our independent analysis, you as an executive need to understand the true annual cost reality. For those mid-sized associations in that sweet spot we just talked about, you really should anticipate an annual budget impact roughly between $8,000 and $15,000. So you have to ask yourself right off the bat, can our operating budget actually absorb that before we spend time evaluating further?
Moving right along to Section 2, Operational Gains, the real-world impact on your staff. Let's dig into the tangible operational shifts this system can trigger, especially for a resource-constrained team. Instead of just boring you with a feature list, let's look at the actual operational changes. First, you get massive system consolidation. You're bringing your membership, events, and website entirely under one single roof. You also get native continuing education tracking through their LMS integrations. Plus, you literally bypass IT overhead entirely because of automatic cloud updates. But, perhaps most importantly, you get crucial high-touch handholding during their typical 60 to 90-day implementation period.
And this verified user feedback hits the nail on the head. Strong implementation support is consistently highlighted as one of the platform's absolute biggest operational strengths. Think about it. If your team is currently limping along on a bunch of chaotic, disconnected spreadsheets and you don't have a dedicated IT staff, having a specialist actively guide your setup, well, that isn't just a nice-to-have feature. It's literally an operational lifesaver.
Okay, Section 3. Trade-offs and constraints, what you give up for convenience. Because look, software selection is always a game of give and take, right? We have to balance those great operational gains against the very real functional limitations you're going to have to accept.
So in exchange for an all-in-one system with that fantastic setup support, you do give up some things. First, as we mentioned, zero pricing transparency upfront. You also take on what we like to call design debt. A lot of users report that the built-in website templates feel pretty dated and basic. And critically, you have to accept some major limitations when it comes to financial and accounting functionality.
We absolutely cannot soften legitimate concerns here. As this verified executive points out, the accounting side is sorely lacking. On top of that, syncing with QuickBooks is an additional expense, which is kind of wild when you consider many competing platforms include that integration for free. So, if your association relies on complex fund accounting or you need sophisticated financial tools, this limitation is a massive operational hurdle you just can't ignore.
All right, Section 4, Executive Blind Spots, where demos create false confidence. Let's uncover some of those consultative blind spots that executives so often miss when they're getting dazzled by a really well-rehearsed product demo.
We call this the 3-year test, and it highlights exactly where associations tend to misinterpret their long-term fit. If you're experiencing rapid membership growth, say over 50%, your membership is probably going to become way too limiting, and you'll need an enterprise-level platform sooner rather than later. On the flip side, if your growth is uncertain or declining, the cost of this platform poses a pretty severe financial risk. But if you're projecting stable, steady growth around 0 to 25%, then this platform scales quite adequately.
You have to evaluate for where you're going to be in 3 years, not just where you are today.
Another massive blind spot: vendor maturity and ownership structure. The platform's parent company was actually acquired by the private equity firm TA Associates. Now, while that obviously brings financial stability, as an executive, you have to evaluate whether this transition might impact long-term product innovation. You need to be actively monitoring for signs of underinvestment, things like minimal software updates or sudden cuts to their support teams.
Which brings us to Section 5, Decision Questions. Shifting into active evaluation. To bridge the gap from just a passive review to an active evaluation, your executive team needs to answer a very specific set of consultative questions.
These are high-impact questions designed to force internal alignment. Don't answer them right this second, but definitely take them back to your team. Can our budget realistically absorb that $8,000 to $15,000 annually? Is zero pricing transparency an absolute deal breaker for us? Are we willing to accept outdated website design templates? Will we actually need accrual-based or complex fund accounting? Do we truly need built-in social forums, or would a basic directory be fine? And finally, is hands-on implementation our absolute highest priority? Deciding what compromises are truly acceptable for your unique operations, that is the absolute core of this evaluation.
And this leads to a really vital realization we call the decision gap. Today, AI and online research can quickly summarize features, generate comparison charts, and outline market positioning. But you know what AI can't do? It cannot reliably determine what an implementation will actually look like for your specific staff. It can't tell you if a lack of complex fund accounting is going to be acceptable for your board. That expert evaluation layer, that is the decision gap.
Ultimately, your membership fits very well for small to mid-sized staffs who prioritize system consolidation and hands-on setup over modern design or advanced accounting. But remember, fit depends entirely on your specific organizational context. So, to confidently navigate this decision gap, give SmartThoughts a call at 817-523-9801 or visit www.smartthoughts.net to explore our AMS selection toolkit, vendor finder, or to schedule a consultation. Before you sign any contracts, ask yourself, are we buying a system for the association we are today or the association we need to be tomorrow?